The failed elect, the failed
Yeah.
chosen one is a great contrast to what Jesus as the ultimate, the chosen one is supposed to be. So I was talking with my wife about Saul and Gideon, and they have these similar arcs where they start off super humble guys, fearful, lowly, very conscious of their own lack and inability to do things. God comes and selects them and raises them up. And in both cases, as soon as they realize, when they're at the peak of their trajectory, and they realize that they have power, they came from a place of lowliness and humility, and as soon as they realize that they have power and things are working out for them, they grab at it. And as soon as they grab at it and stop being a conduit for blessing and stop being someone through whom God is working and stop being the servant outward, like using their election and their status as God's elect to bless the people below them, as soon as they grab after it and try to lead from the top, it all comes crashing down.
Okay, that's interesting because when you were talking, I was thinking about how many are called, but few are chosen. And it seems like that word chosen isn't just a one-sided kind of choosing. There seems to be a reciprocal choosing.
Yeah.
Where it's like God chooses you and you choose him, or you've chosen him and he chooses you because you've chosen him.
Yeah.
Or like they're simultaneous, that there's something in the heart of man that God sees that, like, you know, is part of the choosing.
So we'll just take the Saul and David contrast story. They both start from very humble positions. God finds them, chooses them, and raises them up. But there was something at the very core of who they were that made one's election fail miserably and one's election succeed and be the greatest king Israel ever had. There was some response to God's election and God's calling. One rose to the occasion out of a genuine love for God and a man after his own heart. Because that's what God says, is he says, I'm done with Saul. I have sought out a man after my own heart. And so I think part of the meditation on the story that I was doing was, you want to believe that by just taking the lowly and the humble, like we do this story so much in our storytelling, is the lowly and the humble one gets raised up to the top, and because of their former life in a humble state, they become a great leader. But what the Bible's trying to say is that's not necessarily true. There is an inner response of thankfulness, gratefulness, love, that just the move from humility doesn't, or the place of humility and humbleness doesn't necessarily teach you.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, I think we're getting somewhere with the interior thankfulness, humility, and love that you're talking about, it being such an essential, because that's like ministering to me. When you say that, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like all about gratitude.
Yep.
And like, and trust.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like lack of trust causes insecurity.
Yep.
And where does lack of gratitude play into all of that? Because you see with Saul, he was really insecure.
Yeah.
But he had a lot of outward reasons, allegedly, to be very secure. You know, he had the stature, he had the looks.
Isn't that so interesting? I don't know that I get it, that it's worked out in my mind, but I know that I feel it. I've been there.
Yeah.
In this sense, exactly this sense. I was telling some friends who came over the other night. They were like, "Hey, Michael, were you like weird in high school?" And I was like, "No, I wasn't weird." I was like, in elementary school and middle school, I was weird. But this is what happened. I saw things in myself that I wanted other people to recognize and to accept me. And when I wasn't accepted, I made the 180 move. And I was like, if you don't accept me, I'll just embrace my outsider and I'll be the weird kid. I'm like, and that's what I told myself in elementary school and middle school. I'm just weird. I'm the weird guy. I'm just not like everybody else. But secretly, and I told that to myself so much that I believed it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't true. It was really coming from this deep insecurity and a desire to be accepted. And once I found a really great group of friends that liked me just for who I was, and we all got along really well being ourselves in high school, all of that stuff fell away. I no longer felt this desire to push people away at arm's length and be weird because I was accepted. And it's like, when you know you're loved, you don't have to, those insecurities, you know, we've said this before, but when you know you're loved, you don't have to flaunt those insecurities or hide behind them. They can melt away. And I think that must be Saul's story, is you're in this humble place and you're so conscious of it. You're so conscious of how not powerful you are, not rich you are, even though he had the looks, he had the strength, he had all this stuff.
The kingdom.
And then he was given the kingdom. But when you are only conscious of your failures and never conscious of the one who loved you, and that must have been before he was ever raised up, the things he didn't have didn't matter to him because he knew he had God. And when he was raised up, that's all he still cared about, is having God. But Saul was always conscious of what he didn't have. And so when he got raised up to the top, he was, now it was conscious of what he did have and he had to keep it.